What's up, you guys? We are so excited to be here with you live on Facebook, the Nitro Nutrition live page. I want to introduce myself. I know that we are missing Mr. Mark Macdonald tonight on the call, but I am here to tell you we are here to bring some serious value to all of you guys tonight. He is launching the Nitro Nutrition movement in Turkey, and so he's a little otherwise indisposed. So I'm excited to be able to share with you guys a little bit about my story. My name is Tracy Peterson. I am a board certified family nurse practitioner, worked in family medicine for about 7 years. And the last 6 years, I've worked in medical aesthetics. I'm also a mom of 3 kids. If we have any parents on the call tonight, drop a me down in the chat below. I'll be checking Facebook here periodically just to see all of your guys' comments. So this is definitely going to be interactive tonight. I'm also a former Division I collegiate athlete, and I am a fitness enthusiast. I love health. I love fitness. I love working out. I love putting good things into my body. And I was introduced to this program just a few months ago, but I have loved these products for about 4 years now, and they've absolutely transformed my health. And tonight, you guys are in for a very special treat. We have Miss Carrie Lapoli. She is a founder of Disruptive Nutrition. She's a certified nutritionist, a mindset expert, and a mom of 2 teenage girls. So I think that deserves a standing ovation in and of itself. Hi, Carrie. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, Tracy, I'm super excited to be here. I feel like we have big shoes to fill, don't you? But like, we can do this. Mark will be so proud of us.
Yes, he's going to be so proud. And we've got big shoes, but we also have like big hugs to fill. So I feel like we should all give like a big group hug. Say, we love you, Mark. We can't wait to have you back on here. But we're excited to be able to go over some really, really vital information for you guys tonight. I mean, how many of you on the call, we'd love to know before we dive into Carrie and her story and her expertise, we want to introduce to you guys the topic that we're going to cover tonight. So answer me this, how many of you have been ready for a health change in your life before, right? Like we're all motivated, you know, to take our health to the next level. And then boom, out of the blue, we fall into a pit. And maybe this pit is a repetitive pattern that we've continued to just stumble over, right? And sometimes it's really hard to get out of that pit. If you've ever found yourself there, sort of repeating some old patterns, even though you're motivated, you're ready to take your health seriously, will you guys drop a 1 down in the chat if that has ever been you? I'm seeing the chat blowing up with some 1s. Yes, so many of us, right? So tonight we're going to talk about the 5 common pitfalls that all of us have experienced. And more importantly, we're going to go over how to avoid them and keep ourselves from falling into those pits. All right. But before we dive into that, I want you guys to hear from a truly remarkable woman. Her name is Marcia Pinkerman, and she's actually still seeing patients right now. She's a doctorate nurse practitioner. She runs her own functional medicine practice in Utah, and she was recently introduced to the Nitro Nutrition movement. And I don't want to take too much away from her story, so I'm really not going to take anything from her story. And I want you guys to hear from Miss Marcia, and her story is absolutely inspiring. And so Marcia, you can take it away. Everybody's excited to hear from you.
Well, hi, everybody. It's so exciting to be here. Actually, just a few minutes ago, I was talking to a physical therapist, and he was asking me, what happened to you, in a good way? And I was crying because I am so happy. I'm so happy. Anyway, like Tracy said, I have my doctorate in nursing practice. I have my own practice, and I also work with terminal patients, as well as I have international real estate business. So my life, and three little kids, wonderful kids. So my life it's busy, and this plan is incredible. Well, I was a straight A student, so I can, read research and do that kind of thing. So saying that, let me tell you, I have been in so many different plans before. I have always struggled with my weight, and this year my blood sugar started going up, and my doctor wanted to add a third medication, and he didn't think I could. He's like, I don't think you can ever lose weight. We do need to start a third medication. I'm like, no, I need to a lifestyle change, but what plan? So I feel like this was an answer to my prayer, because then I got a call from my dear friend, Sally. She's also a nurse practitioner. And I feel like it's a gift from God, because it was perfect at the perfect time. So I started a program 2 weeks ago. In 2 weeks, I lost 11 pounds. My blood sugar, for the first time, it's within normal limits. The 2 medication I was taking, now I only need to take 1, otherwise it will go too low. My fatigue is gone. I have a lot of energy. I am completely amazed with this plan. I have tried my whole life. I'm 47 years old. I have tried so many plans out there. Some worked for a while, and the way I felt, I didn't like the way it made me feel. It's incredible. This plan is incredible. So I feel like it was an answer to my prayers, because my doctor said, if you could only lose 15 pounds, but I don't think you can do it. I lost 11 pounds in 2 weeks, and my fatigue is gone, and I'm like a completely different person. So I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, I love it, Marcia. If you guys love her story, and Marcia, stay on here one more second, because I want to show you guys her pictures. And what I love, something that Marcia shared, is that, check these out, guys. Boom. I feel like it's like a mic drop moment. I love these pictures so much. What I love is she said, I was beautiful before, but I just didn't feel my best. I didn't feel healthy. And so she was beautiful before, she's beautiful after, but it's her light. It's that feeling of health and energy and vitality that has absolutely changed her life. So Marcia, it almost brings me to tears, and that's why we're here. We're here to change people's lives and to give them the answer, give them the solution that they're searching for. So I just so appreciate you, and I can't wait for you to walk into that doctor's appointment in December with your head held high, maybe a few inches slimmer, and share this Nitro Nutrition program with him. I think you're going to
amazing. Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being on. So you guys, that's really what it's all about. We're here to change people's lives and impact them in such a powerful way. And so with this topic that we're going to cover tonight, you guys get to hear from the absolute expert. This woman, Miss Carrie, has coached hundreds and hundreds of people over the course of her career, probably even thousands. And so I'm going to turn the time over to her, and we're just going to kind of play a little bit back and forth as she goes over the top 5 most common pitfalls that are stopping you from hitting your goals. So Miss Carrie, take it away.
Yes, I am so excited to hear that story. Is powerful. It's why I do what I do every single day. But here's the thing. We're going to listen to that story and then be motivated to take action, right? But what the theme of this is going to be about is the pitfalls, right? And the pits that we find ourselves in. And so often it's because we get motivated, and then that's our strategy. Staying motivated is not something that actually happens. I want us to think back on motivation. How many times are we motivated and then we lose it? How many times, and I would love for you to put in the comments, if I want you to write 5 a.m. How many of you have ever said, I'm getting up early, I'm getting up at 5 a.m., I'm going to work out, right? And then 5 a.m. comes and the alarm goes off and you hit snooze. So I want you to hit 5 a.m. if you've ever lost motivation when you thought for sure you were going to do something. And that's part of what we sit in. And when we don't have motivation, we often feel like we just can't do it. And so we need another strategy outside of motivation to be able to keep us going when it gets hard. And so I love motivation because it's rocket fuel, but what we're going to talk about are all the ways to stay out of the pit, because your motivation is going to go at some point, and we got to stay out of the pit because we use motivation to keep us out of the pit. And that's not going to be the strategy today. Okay. All right, Tracy, you ready?
Oh, I was born ready.
Okay, good. I see 5 a.m.
I hope you guys are ready. Get your pens, get your papers out. And we're going to start with the number one. Carrie, what's number one?
Okay. Yeah, I see a lot of 5 a.m. So I think we're gonna speak a lot about this. I do a lot of mindset work with my coaches because what I have with my clients, because what I have learned so much is that we can teach you how to eat. And let me tell you, we teach you how to eat in a way that I coach doctors and nurses, right? They don't teach us this stuff in medical school. We're going to teach you how to eat, but it's not enough, because what we need to be able to do is something for the rest of our lives. Now, our bodies are actually our best friends, believe it or not. But I think so many of us don't see our body as our best friend. We see it as our enemy. And we get into this kind of funky relationship with ourselves of disappointment, right? So the first pit we fall into is ourselves, you guys. We literally kind of sabotage ourselves with our thinking and what we do and how we act with ourselves. So here's what I want you to think about. Our bodies crave consistency. In fact, we say this all the time. Is this something you can do forever? And if it's not, why are you doing it? Our bodies crave consistency. Our bodies are just like any other relationship. I want you to think about a relationship that you have with your spouse or a best friend. That relationship was built because of trust. And the minute trust is gone, that makes that relationship really hard. So I want you to think about a marriage, right? Marriages last when there's trust. When there's no trust, the marriage doesn't last. So I want you to ask yourself how consistent you've been with your body, with yourself. Here's the definition of trust, you guys. Trust is positive interactions consistently over time. It's not just about going on the honeymoon. And how many times do you get motivated and you say, I'm going to do this, and it's kind of fun for a little while because you see a little bit of progress or you're doing something new, but it's just the honeymoon. You have to be committed forever. And a marriage lasts when you have that trust and you cultivate that relationship. And that's what we want you to do. Constantly be in our community, constantly be with like-minded people that are going to hold you accountable when you're not motivated. Think about that concept of trust. And if you're breaking promises to yourself on a regular basis, you're going to fall in the pit. Okay. So the first one is about ourselves. And I love that because you know what? I can't control other people, but I can control myself.
I love that. I love that so much. And that resonates with me so much, because how many of you guys who are watching would like to trust yourself again, would love to trust your body again, would love to trust yourself around food again and your food choices? If that's you, will you drop a 2 down in the chat below? Because I would say, I've done now 2 rounds of the 21-day reset and accelerate program. And it's not so much what I lost, because I lost pounds, over 5 pounds, lost inches, but it's what I gained that was the most important. And I gained trust in myself. I gained trust in my body and in my intuition. And that is worth everything to me. So Carrie, I have a question for you, because you've been living this PFC lifestyle every 3 hours, right? For PFC every 3 for what, over 10 years?
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
Because my girls were little and now they're not little anymore.
Yeah. So how is your relationship with food and with yourself?
So here's the thing. I was a college athlete as well. And what's so interesting is when you stop being a college athlete, they never taught me how to eat. I never knew anything about my body or about food. And food allowed me to feel guilty. Food had power over me. I was on all sorts of restrictions. I was drinking 5 to 6 cups of coffee a day. I was a mess. And right after college, I ended up with an eating disorder. So in all reality, food had such control and power over me that there was no way I was going to live my best life. And when I first learned about how to eat this way, I remember I was another coach had said something crazy. And he said, and Mark hates this, but I'm going to say it anyway. He says, what do you think is more correct or more balanced, an apple or pizza with chicken? And now I used to always not have the pizza with my girls during pizza night because I would get the salad with no dressing. And so what was I teaching my girls on top of it all? But when we talked about how pizza with chicken was a protein, fat, and carb, now I get it's not healthy, but it can be balanced. And I realized that there was a life out there for people and eating in a way that I didn't ever know before. And so food no longer makes me feel guilty. And to have freedom like that, you never want to lose it. Even when you're not motivated. I mean, I might not be motivated to brush my teeth every night, but I do. And so once it becomes a habit, it becomes who you are.
Oh, I love that. Once it becomes a habit, it becomes who you are. I love that so much. Okay, Carrie. So what is pitfall number 2?
I hear this all the time. Okay, we fall into the pit of using the wrong metrics. If I hear one more time about calorie counts or about how they have to lose a certain amount of weight on the scale, I'm like, y'all realize calories. Let's just think about this. How in the world could 350 calories of an Oreo cookie be the same as 350 calories of a turkey, almonds, and an apple? Or even 350 calories of turkey, right? It's not. We're looking at the wrong things. And the reason why is because the diet industry has us completely bamboozled about what it takes and what we need. We look at the scale, and that has been a complete brainwash by the diet industry. Because let's be honest, if you've ever been on a diet before and you've lost some weight, right? You think the diet worked. Well, in all reality, sure, you might have lost some weight, but it was your body actually slowing down its metabolism and literally pulling nutrients from our muscles to try to just nourish us. And so you're going to see a little bit of weight loss at first, but because it slows down your metabolism, the minute you eat, and I will tell you, I'm sure if you were like me, you would eat the same things that had you gain weight, that had you lose weight, and you're suddenly gaining weight again. That's because your metabolism has slowed down, right? And so now you start to gain the weight again. And you think, surely it was my fault. Or you had a cheat meal, and a cheat meal makes it sound like we're cheating, right? You had a cheat meal and you gained the weight back. And so it must have been your fault because the diet worked and I lost weight on the scale, right? But I know a lot of skinny, unhealthy people. Optimal health will get you to your optimal weight. And when we can stop using the scale as the measurement, but look at so many other things like Marcia was talking about, her blood sugar, her fatigue, her energy, the way she feels in her clothes, there's so many better measures. So we need to stop focusing on calories. We need to stop focusing on the scale. That's why we don't see progress, but we keep going back to it. And because we keep going down weight loss as a solution. And so what do you Google? What do you go on the Facebook? Weight loss. When in reality, we need to be looking at blood sugar stabilization. That is the metric we need to be looking at. And we know our blood sugar is stabilized. We're ready to eat, satisfied, ready to eat, satisfied. When our blood sugar is stabilized, that is the foundation for everything. I want you guys to write the word hangry in the comments. If you've ever been hangry, like really hungry, tell me what you go for. Because I know when I'm hangry, my house could be on fire and I'm grabbing a bag of chips on my way out the door.
I was going to say carbs, always carbs.
I ask that question to thousands of people all the time, and everybody always talks about carbs. That is not because there's something wrong with you or your willpower. That is because your blood sugar is really low. But yet we think it's a badge of honor if I only take in this many calories a day, or I busted through that feeling of hunger. What you're doing is slowing down your metabolism. And when you do eat, you're going to store fat because your blood sugar is on a big roller coaster. And so the metrics that we have been following are wrong. Plus, I can't do that much math. And so when I am not motivated, I can't do math like that. And so when motivation fails, I will fall in the pit because I think I got to count calories. And then I will not be able to be successful. So you focus on proteins, fats, and carbs, focus on eating every 3 to 4 hours, and focus on recognizing your body and what it's telling you. My metric of when I'm hungry, I know I need to eat. Those are the metrics we need to be following. And it's so much easier, you guys. Our body is not a checkbook.
No, definitely not. So much easier. And then something that I love about this Nitro Nutrition plan too, that Mark has talked a lot about, is we have to ask ourselves those three questions, right? Is your plan based on science? Is it something you would put your children on? And it's something that you can do lifelong.
Yes.
And I think that to me, it's such a paradigm shift for so many people. And I've done that. I've done the calorie counting. I've done, my app where I track every single little bit of food that goes into my mouth, and my app or my scale sort of runs my world. And it's like, whoa, there is so much more to life than that. And that's what this Nitro Nutrition program has taught me. So
without a doubt. Tracy, I'd love to ask everybody, honestly, how long do you think you've been dieting for? Because when I ask people this, potential clients and people that I talk to, it's decades. It's literally decades. But here's the thing. All diets are exactly the same. I know they sound like different things, but they're all about deprivation. And so if it's not one of those three things, it's based in science, you can do it for the rest of your life, and you put your kids on it, you don't want to be doing it, because that is absolutely going to be the D word, we call it, in our family. And we don't
like the D word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But really, they're all the same. If it's cutting carbs, cutting calories, counting points, all of them are the same. It's about restriction. And I always say, since when does anything flourish in a deficit? Ever. It doesn't. It doesn't. So we have to get out of the wrong metrics, because it's holding us back. And if you've been doing the same thing for 20, 30 years, we all know, right, what that definition of insanity is, right?
Yes, it is. It's doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
So I find your question absolutely fascinating, because I actually saw your post that you put that on. I was like, I probably have been on some form of the D word since my 20s, maybe even into high school, where it was just this deprivation state. It was, and I don't want to jump ahead, it was like this all or nothing mentality. This is the breakthrough, right? Doing the 21-day reset and the accelerate program. I'm now 39. So I'm well into my 30s, almost into my 40s. I finally, Carrie, I feel like this is a victory, a super big victory for me. I'm finally in a state of maintenance, or maybe even a little surplus.
And how long? I mean, and you've been doing this for how long?
Almost 30 years. It's like, see, it's crazy.
And you're eating. And this is what I keep telling people. We're eating all the time. Food does not have power on me. I just understand food and how it works in my body. And I'm 46. I am in way better shape. I have way more energy than I was at 36. That's not supposed to happen, right? The age train is going, and we're on it. And what Mark has done, what Mark has been able to give us through Nitro Nutrition, is literally, we slow down that age train. And that's incredible.
And we literally, through the plan and through the program, can redefine aging. So you get to choose.
Yep.
You get to choose how you want to age.
Yep.
It's the most empowering movement that I've ever been a part of. I absolutely love it. But
I love it too. I love it.
So
okay.
Moving on, pitfall number 3.
All right. So pitfall number 3. So this is where we are in the all or nothing mentality. So I want us to think about this. If this is all or nothing, here's how you know if you're in this. Do you see good? Do you see food as good or bad? Do you see it as one or the two? This is good or this is bad, right? And if you eat something bad, how do you feel, right? You feel guilty, right? You feel bad about yourself. Or let's do this. What's the opposite of food that's healthy? Unhealthy. And then we're cheating, right? Or how many people have saved up everything? They knew they were going out for a big dinner. And so they saved up, and they didn't eat all day because they knew they were going to eat everything at dinner. Or if you ate all your food at breakfast because you went out with your friends and then you couldn't eat all day, right? Those are the all or nothing mentalities that throws us into a pit. First of all, we're just throwing off our blood sugar left and right. But we think of food as binary. We give it so much power. Food is not good or bad. Food serves our body, or food serves our soul. And if we can't have both, we're going to feel like we're on a diet. We're going to feel restricted. But what I love about the 21-day reset is we get to serve our body for 21 days. And I would love to ask how many people have really, truly done that, where you fueled your body with food that serves you. I always say nothing tastes as good as healthy feels, okay? And that is eating healthy food and eating the right balance. But then after those 21 days, if you don't start to recognize that there is soul-filling food that we all need, that we need to be able to incorporate, this isn't about everything in moderation, because I didn't understand what that meant. That was very hard for me. But here's the thing, this is filled with so much grace and love. Let's think about this. With Nitro Nutrition, we are eating 5 to 6 times a day, right? If you're not perfect, no big deal. You just get right back on the next meal. Or if you can't eat completely healthy and balanced, but you can eat balanced, that's good. Do you know how many times I go out for ice cream with my kids? Ice cream is just a fat and a carb, y'all. That's all it is. It doesn't have that much power on us. We'll all have turkey. I'm handing out turkey, and then we go have our ice cream. I know it's not healthy, but there's gray area in there. So food does not have to be binary. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. This is not like you're done for the day, or I'm done for the week, or I'll just start the diet again on Monday. This is like, I can always get back on. And the best part about this is it gets better with time. The longer you live this lifestyle, the longer you do this, the faster your metabolism gets. I was on a call with a client today who's been living this for 4 months, and she's like, I'm getting hungry again. And so we have to actually increase her portions because her metabolism is so fast, and she's 44 years old. So she doesn't have that all or nothing mentality anymore, because she knows she doesn't have to. We just get right back on, and our body knows how to metabolize food. And the best part is we can once a week, once we're in there, we're really intentional, and no more cheat meals. I actually like to call it an appreciation meal. We'll call it a gratification meal, because I appreciate the fact that once a week I go in and eat anything I want and have whatever I want to eat and drink. And my body doesn't miss a beat. And so when we get out of all or nothing, when we stop looking at food as good or bad, when we stop thinking about the fact that we have to earn our food like we're animals, we are going to be in a whole new place. It's freeing.
So freeing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found too, because I'll be honest, I'm on the accelerate portion of the plan. And this past Sunday, I always look forward to making my own chocolate chip cookies. They're like my favorite, and I eat more dough than cookies.
Perfect.
Like
Love it.
But that was my appreciation meal, appreciating my body. I stopped at a normal, like, serving. That's like
because your body is
in my life ever.
Yes, because your body and you now have that. Remember, we talked about trust is positive interactions consistently over time. You have a new marriage and a new relationship with yourself. And there is nothing better than I would say, who are you sure you are going to know in 10 years? The only person in the world you are sure you're going to know is yourself. And if we don't treat ourselves the way that we would honestly treat others, then what is our body going to do for us over the years? Now, our body is working so hard to be our best friend. But if think about weight gain is a symptom of health and hormones. And so our body is just trying to do things to protect ourselves from ourselves, right? Marcia and all of her medication, that was because her body was going into overdrive because it wasn't being fueled correctly. And so few people know this. And yet it is, to me, I'm like evangelical about it because it is so powerful. But one other piece around this that I want people to think about in terms of a litmus test and everything in moderation is that when the exception becomes the norm, that's when you know you're in the pit, right? When it's the exception, you're going to do fine because you're keeping yourself consistent over time.
Yes. And one thing that I love about this plan too, is it's not about if you're ever going to fall off plan, it's when, because you will. Yeah. You will fall off plan, but the determining factor of your long-term success is how quickly you can get back on. And I love that you mentioned that gray area, right? Where you're just like, okay, right back on.
Right. But and we actually really even think about it a little bit, even I like cheese a lot. I know though that cheese, my clients all laugh because I'll be like, I had cheese and I'll get a zit because I know like my body will just break out, but there's no guilt in it. I call it a yellow light meal. right? And actually my very first coach introduced me to this concept of the green light meal, a yellow light meal, or a red light meal. And that red light meal is your appreciation or gratification meal. But that yellow light meal might be me having, turkey and ice cream. Because it might be PFC balanced, but it's not quite healthy, right? And I might end up breaking out, but it's okay. And that's where I feel like we really have to be thinking about the fourth pit. We follow our feelings. And I say this to my teenage girls all the time. Our feelings are fickle. We have to recognize that our feelings one day from another, my goodness, 1 minute from another could be completely different. And so when we base our next moves on how we feel, right? If we're motivated, not motivated, if we're tired, if we're stressed, if we're happy or bored, then we're going to make short-term decisions that are not intentional. Short-term decisions that then end up making us feel guilty. But here's the thing. First of all, Mark always talks about your strong why. Having a why matters. So it grounds you, okay? Because that why is not about motivation. It is about really understanding. It says right here, know your value. The value that you bring into this world and what your true purpose is, why you are here. We are not on this earth to find the right diet. We are not on this earth to weigh a certain amount. We are on this earth for a much, much bigger reason. Get in tune with that why, but then set your day up with intentionality. Don't break promises to yourself. If you know you're going to a party at night, then you eat your meals all day long, your protein, fat, and carb every 3 to 4 hours. You keep yourself fueled and you walk into that party, and before you do, you decide and you say, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to be a gratification meal, or I'm going to stay, on the 21-day reset, my green light kind of thing. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but don't break the promise to yourself, right? If you say this is going to be my gratification meal, do it. And the best way to get out of the pit of falling into your feelings is to be intentional. I always talk about morning time. I talk about an evening routine. And before you walk into a situation, you have decided for yourself what you're going to do. You wouldn't go to work without having a plan about what you're going to do for the day, right? But yet we do that to ourselves all the time. We wing it. So let's talk about being really intentional. And it doesn't matter what your decision is, as long as you stick to it.
Yes. I think indecision is a thief of progress, right? We're all here to progress and to get better. And I love what you said. You almost said plan what to eat and then eat what you plan.
Yeah.
Have a plan going in and then follow through with it, whether it's a green light meal or a yellow light meal or a red light meal.
Yep. Terrific. I got a shout out to Joe Millings for that yellow light, green light, red light. When he introduced that to me, I was like, for a girl with an eating disorder who had a terrible relationship with food in her body, I was like, oh, that I can do. We're no longer binary. Yeah. And then there's a spectrum on all of those as well. But, I also think it's not about, you mentioned, you used to put your food into your app and all that kind of stuff. The only time I ever use any of those apps is to maybe look, is this a protein? Is this a fat? Is this a carb, right? That is it, because we don't have to track our food. That's what's so amazing about this. And I always say this to Mark. Mark and I have been friends for years and years. I'm like, Mark, I don't think you realize how powerful what you developed was for women, because women carry so much guilt and so much weight on our shoulders, around our bodies and around food. And while this works for our bodies, it works for our soul, because again, it isn't all or nothing. We don't have to worry about as much around our feelings. Our blood sugar being stabilized actually carries much more emotional stability among us than he even realized. But I'm like, Mark, you have designed something and shared with the world freedom like I have never known. And I know thousands and thousands, millions of people around the world really have been able to experience.
And to even more better, to better illustrate that point too, is when you finally understand that food no longer has power over you, what is the generational change of that?
This is what I say.
Our daughters, even our sons watching us as their mothers, going through this internal battle, these guilt cycles that we have. This movement truly is not just a health movement, but it's a soul movement. It's a generational movement. And I feel blessed to be a part of it. I truly do.
Tracy, 10 years ago, I have a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old. And 10 years ago, when we had our pizza night, and I wouldn't eat the pizza, I would have the salad with no dressing. My kids would actually say, Mom doesn't have the pizza because it has too many calories. And I remember that moment so clearly. And I thought, I am doing to my girls what was done inadvertently to me. It wasn't like my mom was like, oh, I'm going to go and screw her up. And it was our own generational mindsets about ourselves and about women. And we keep thinking, we often talk about wanting to change our family tree, and we often talk financially, but I always talk about we can change something within our family tree that is so much more valuable than money. And my girls at 15 and 16 are completely different than I was at 15 and 16. And I can see with such clarity how different their life will be, because they will not have gone through the same things that I have gone through. I love that my girls know about food. They teach other people about food, and they even throw it in my face sometimes. Don't you know that the other day my daughter grabs an Origin shake, she throws in some water to it, right? Because we know, like, if we want to have an Origin shake, I often have a few more fats and carbs in there just to balance it out. And then she had baked brownies the night before. She grabbed a brownie. I go, what are you doing? She goes, protein, fat, and carbs. See ya. And she runs out the door. And I was like, there you go. Okay. That is education, and that is knowing food. And that's confidence, right?
It is confidence. Absolutely. Oh, and even with my little ones, I mean, 8, 6, and 3, we even said it tonight. They're like, we still need a protein.
I love that.
Oh, it's honestly, it's the best. It's the most inspiring thing to see. It truly, truly is. And so then to wrap up, especially with these teenage girls and these kids, right? Sometimes they fall victim and they fall prey to pitfall number 5, which is following the trend, right? So tell us a little bit more about that.
So, my teenage daughters don't necessarily think I am the most trendy. I mean, like, they school me all the time on the fashion side of trends. But here's the thing. I talk to hundreds of women every single week, and I say to them, what kind of things have you tried? And it is all the trendy things. I mean, let's be honest. I remember when I was in my 20s and it was Atkins, and now it's keto, and the trends all come back. Just like my daughter now looks at my pictures of me in the 90s with my clothes, and she's like, those are the coolest clothes ever. All the trends come back around, and we do that with our diets. And when you think about that, we have to keep our trends to the closet. We know what works, right? Mark has been doing this for over 20 years. I know that Nitro Nutrition is somewhat new with Kyani, but the reason why this is so powerful, and the reason why I love that Kyani partnered with Mark, was because this is proven. This works with everybody. I always say, my head coach for our nutrition company, her name is Deb. Shout out to Deb. And she says, PFC, eating this way, Mark's program, the way Mark has designed this is your body's love language. And when you're speaking your love language, right? You feel love, you can show love, and you can just be healthier and happier. And when you're eating this way, you are literally speaking your body's love language. I don't care if you are 2, if you are 92, or any age in between. Blood sugar stabilization was what every body needs. Okay. But we also know that there are 6 things in total that we need. So yes, we have to stop following the trend. We have to just do what we know works, and then do it forever. Build that trust with our body so it's consistency over time. So I'm going to tell you guys the 6 things. I want you to write the number 6 in the comments, because these are the 6 things Mark has taught me, and we have taught thousands and thousands of people. And when things feel like you're plateauing maybe a little bit, or if things feel like you're maybe not so motivated, or when you feel like you've been off the wagon a little bit, it's not about going and looking for the next trend. It's about looking at one of these 6 things and figuring out which one needs to be honed in. I call them spinning plates. Have you ever seen, like, in the circus, right? When you have like all those plates, that's what this is. And you have to keep all your plates spinning, and inevitably they're not all going to be spinning at the same time, right? So here are your 6 things. You ready? Nutrition. And this is what we've been talking about. This is why this program and this community is so powerful, because we have that taken care of for you. We didn't say diet, we said nutrition. Exercise. Exercise is powerful, important, and we need it. Water, sleep, stress, and supplements. These are the 6 things that we know for decades and decades, that if we get these 6 right, we will win. Nutrition, exercise, water, sleep, stress, and supplements. Nutrition, we've got, right? Exercise, we know what we've got to do. And I love that Nitro Nutrition has an exercise plan in there. Water, we know when we have the right amount of water, that is going to help us absorb nutrients and all sorts of, we could do a whole show just on water. Sleep and stress often go together, but we know that we absorb so many nutrients and we revitalize our body. It's like charging our phone, what we need for sleep. Stress is the X factor, but often when we get these other things right, stress starts to come down. And then supplements. The bottom line is there are so many out there. One of the things I love about Kyani is it's a small product line. It is the most essential. I always talk about supplement smarter, not harder. Okay. And so when we have the right supplements, they're literally the gap fillers. I hate to break it to you, but I talk all the time about Dr. Mark Hyman, who's a functional medical doctor who I love. He talks all the time about how we today cannot get all of our supplements on food. In food. It's just impossible. We have to fill the gaps. And so when you have your sunrise and your sunset, when you have your nitric oxide, those pieces right there, that triangle of health is setting you up in a way that food cannot. And then because as we get older, our collagen is absolutely not being produced. Like I am not producing as much collagen as you are, Tracy, a couple years younger than me, or my kids who are teenagers, right? And so we have to have, and we know that's kind of trendy right now. But what I love about Kyani is that the type 1, type 3 bovine collagen is the most like our own. That there's 27 different types of collagen out there. They got it right. We need to be able to supplement that in so it helps balance our blood sugar and does a whole lot of other things that food is not going to be able to do. You would have to drink an obscene amount of beef bone broth to even get close to what that rip and sip is, right? And then we live busy lives, you guys. And I always say, if we're going to eat 5 to 6 times a day, we got to be able to have a high quality protein shake, because that is going to keep this lifestyle sustainable forever. Not to mention that's really, really good. But by having liquid protein, it actually absorbs differently in our body. But it allows us to do this lifestyle on the go forever. When you think about it, if I do 2 protein shakes a day, I really only have to think about 3 PFC meals. One of them's dinner, and then the rest are just grab and go. It couldn't be easier and faster, but if you don't have that supplementation, you don't get it right, you're missing a huge piece of that puzzle. Those 6 plates that you need to keep spinning, supplements is one of them. And I love that Kyani has this amazing layered approach where we have the program, we have the right products, the right amount of products, and then the community that's going to help keep us from falling in the pit.
I love it. I just feel like I want to say like a big amen after all of that. So just to recap and wrap, you guys, the 5 most common pitfalls. Number 1 is falling into the pit ourselves. Number 2, and maybe drop in the chat if your greatest pitfall is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let us know in the chat. So number 1 is falling into the pit ourselves. Number 2, falling into the pit of focusing on the wrong metrics. Number 3 is the all or nothing mentality. I'm a number 3, not anymore. I used to be a number 3. Number 4, falling into the pit of feelings. Number 5, following the trend, falling into the pit of following the trend. So you guys, if you guys found so much value from Miss Carrie Lipoli, will you guys please drop a CL in the chat, show her some love, because if you're in love and your Nitro Nutrition is your new love language, and I love that so much because it is so true, drop some hearts down in the chat if you love Nitro Nutrition and that it has come in and shifted your paradigms, that it has changed your life and it's changed your relationship with yourself, with your body, and with your relationship with food. Drop some hearts in the chat if that's you. So I just want to thank you, Miss Carrie Lipoli, and I want to thank Miss Marcia for being on even while she was at work and sharing her truly inspiring story with all of us. And you guys, if this is the first time you're seeing this and it is resonating with you, you're like, yes, I need that in my life. I need that plan. I need that product. I need this beautiful community that we're here to educate. We're here to support. We're here to be your point person. Get back with the person that invited you to this page. Get back with the person that tagged you in this video. Let them know that you're ready to change your patterns. You're ready to avoid all these pitfalls that we all so commonly fall into, because truly we have your back. We have the plan, we have the products, and we have the community to help you win forever. So I appreciate all of your guys' time tonight. We can't wait to see you next week. I almost said same bat time, same bat channel, but then that just dates me. I don't know if anybody else watched that show, but I love it. So anyway, you guys, we will see you next Tuesday. Again, thank you, Carrie, for your expertise and your time tonight. I learned so much from you. And thank you, Nitro Nutrition and Kyani, for giving us this